Hello AOS fans.
Hello.
We're back.
We are.
And this time we're together. And we're going to be recording our first battle of Warhammer Dark Imperium.
Warhammer 40,000, 8th edition!
Exactly, I was about to say aka 8th edition.
I keep forgetting.
Rock than I did.
I keep forgetting what it's called as well. I keep just looking up 8th edition because I've got no idea what it actually is. Mind you, we've known it's called 8th. We know it's been called 8th edition. Well, we know it's 8th edition, and we've known that for a lot longer than
by
we know
the
it's
power
called.
of math.
Yeah, by the power of math. But we've only known it's been called
Dark
Imperium for a week or two since we got the actual the early copy. So yeah, it's going to take a while for that one to bed in.
And then we're always going to call it 8th edition, I think.
Or just 40k eventually.
Yes,
It'll just be 40k. So
anyway, we digress already.
Yeah,
sorry about that.
Take much.
We're going to play now, as we've talked before. We're doing this from the learning perspective. So I know there's been loads of battle reports out on there already. We just haven't got the facilities to churn those out.
We wish we did.
Or the energy.
Yeah. Or the inclination.
Or the understanding wives to allow us to do that. But we're going to take a learning approach. How easy it is to pick up the game and things like that. So we're playing a very small game.
Try and spoon feed the rules a bit more, because a lot of the other ones you're watching online are going to be, this is 3 to wound, it's forced to do this, I'll move these here, and there's not a lot of explanation. So we want to try and, like Robin says, go back to the start and go from a beginner's angle, someone who's not played it for like 8 years, like me, or someone who's never played it at all, like Robin. So.
Yeah, or if you, a lot of these videos go out on Geek Dad, so if you've used to play before you had children, and children came along and you found there's a
ruined it all,
huge gap in time and whatever, we're trying to excite you coming back to the hobby. And this new 40,000, I would say, is pretty good. It's a bit like Age of Sigmar, but you can play it with a relatively small amount of miniatures. You can play games straight out of the box fairly quickly, which is what we're going to demonstrate tonight. Today I shall be playing the Primaris Space Marines, and Pete didn't read his book.
Can't get the star.
Which is in his house. So I got the Primaris Space Marines, which all the details are in this little book here, which we did in the unboxing video, so I won't go over that again, but they're all in there. So we're not even going to use all the figures, we're going to use about half of them. Yes. The new edition has got this new PowerPoint. Not PowerPoint.
No, it's PowerPoint.
Is it PowerPoint? Okay, which is not presentations, but it's basically a kind of like rough and ready points. So people who do war games are used to playing with points, and you can still have that completely itemised, broken down points. You know, how many for an ingrained toenail kind of thing. But they have given a quick rough and ready one. Every single available miniature for the game has a data sheet now, and each data sheet has a power rating, and so you can quickly say, well, I'm going to bring 20 power points, or I'm going to bring 500 power points, and you know that your opponent have a roughly game that's roughly balanced. The starter box comes with 40 to 50 power points depending on whether you're playing
Death Guard or
Primaris. I think
Death Guard are about 44.
I think Primaris are 50, but it seems like every time I add it up, it comes with a different number.
And interestingly, in the indexes, some of the numbers are different to what they are in the rules, and I think that's because not all the special rules are there in this cut down version, so that could be why. So.
And by the indexes, Pete means the books that have been brought out, or will be coming out in conjunction with the game, which basically detail everything that exists already in the game.
If you've got a 40k model that's within the last 3 or 4 editions, you've got rules for it.
Yeah, so but we will talk about that in a separate video. So without further ado, we're going to get into the game. Now, if you remember, sorry Pete, I meant to bring that one with the core rules there.
Oh, thank you.
If you remember, the core rules are all on here, so it should be fairly simple to play and set up. One thing that isn't on here, which I think is a bit of an oversight for beginners, is the what do they call them? The mission. For the first mission, there's one first mission they suggest you play. I think that could do be on here too. So we will look that up in the book. In fact, we will flash up what page number that is in the book, so you can go straight to it if you're playing. So without further ado, we will set that up and tell you all about where we're at.
Yep. So this mission or this game's going to just be 25 power points or 24 for yourself.
24, yes.
So,
yeah. I wanted to
will-
go for 28, so I would more like to win, but Pete was quite insistent on 24.
We're going to mostly focus on the main rules. We're going to, as Robin says, we're going to play the mission that's in the book, which is here's a good starting point for you. So we decided to go and get the rule book just to quickly run through it.
The basic scenario is on page 187, and it's called Only War.
The underdog chooses who has first turns. You do get that privilege. In order to play this mission, you must muster an army of all the miniatures in your collection. You can include any models in your army. Battlefield creator, tabletop, set up terrain. Players must then place objective markers. So we do need objective markers. So I was wrong on that one. Represent any suitable marker or piece of terrain. Have to be so far away from certain things. Before setting up the armies, both players roll off, and the player who rolls highest then rolls on the primary objective table. And the primary objective table is either slay and secure, which means at the end of the battle each objective is worth 2 points, and players also earn D3 points if you destroy the enemy's warlord. Ancient relic, which is at the start of the first battle round, but before the first turn begins, randomly select one of your objectives and remove the others from the table. And at the end of the game, whoever controls that one gets 6 victory points. I guess they just win it. Or domination, which is at the end of each turn, each objective marker is worth 1 point to the player who controls it. So you can either have a score at the end, score as you're going, or basically it's going to all be hell for leather against one objective type affair. Seems pretty straightforward.
Yep, we'll set that up, run through the armies, and see you in a minute.
Or in about 25 minutes. Bye.
You haven't got 25 minutes.
It should happen almost like.
Okay, about 20 minutes later, with a bit of faffing about, we are deployed. It's fairly straightforward in this game, and what we have gone for is basically you have 2 objectives each, which we place. I'm not sure whether you're meant to do them alternately, but Pete and I basically agreed on strategic objectives for this game. We're playing on most of this board, no, we're not going to use that side of it. So we've got number 1 is here in the middle, some sort of fuel pumping situation going on there, and number 2 is over here, and again that's something to do with the fuel, very important.
Main lines.
Yeah, and number 3 is right over here, hiding down. This is obviously of strategic importance because it enables you to get a good look at the trees and shoot over the whole of the battlefield. And number 4 is near this ammo dump here, so we sort of. Well, clearly that would be very useful for my Primaris, but I suspect that'll be the one I don't get. But we shall see.
And then for our primary objective, we rolled slay and secure, which basically means at the end of the game, any objectives you control are worth 2 victory points, and if you slay the enemy's warlord, then you get D3 more. So just for clarity purposes, my warlord is my Blightbringer over here, and yours is the...
My warlord is the lieutenant over here, hiding over here. I didn't go for captain, I didn't have enough points. No. So yeah, slightly things to note is that you get 2 objectives per person, so if you're playing with more than 2 of you, you get an extra 2 per player. And I found the rolling on the table was slightly curious because you roll off to see who rolls off, which it's a random number.
It's very important who rolls that dice.
It's a bit irrelevant, but anyway, we did, and I won it, and it's probably the first ever roll off I've won in about ages of Sigmar games. And
maybe this is a bad start.
It was irrelevant. No, I'm sure that's not true. So yes, that's what we're playing. We're going to try and capture these objectives.
So we deployed all the troops.
We did it alternately,
yep.
but actually there isn't much for me to do really. So over here I have my intercessors, and they're just being backed up by the warlord, the lieutenant, and then another unit of intercessors over here, and then they each have a sergeant, both of those intercessors, and these have a sergeant as well, and these are the inceptors.
Not the interceptors.
Not the interceptors, the inceptors, and they can fly.
So over on my side of the table, I've got my 7 Death Guard here, backed up by my Plague Caster. And then across here, all the way over on the other side, I've got... This is 2 10-man units of Poxwalkers. They're 2 groups of 10.
Right.
It doesn't make a lot of difference, but just in case I need to split off one group of 10. And they've got the... I can't remember what he's now called already. The Blightbringer, I believe he's called. Guy with all the bells and whistles on him, quite literally. leading those guys over this side of the table. So obviously this world has started to fall to the Nurgle Death Guard, and the Poxwalkers are out in force, so Rabute has sent the Primaris Marines to quell the uprising. Now, as Robin had 24, a power rating of 24 to my 25, that means he can choose who goes first, and I'm assuming you're going to let me go first?
Actually, I would go first.
Yeah, I know. I was just hoping.
Oh, I see. So, well, in AOS, I think it is an advantage to go second.
It is, because you've got the potential to do 2 turns in a row.
Yeah, but you haven't had that. It's an important not rule change, because it's the same as 40k, but different from those of you who watch AOS videos. You basically, it is alternately. So whoever goes first will always, will be me, Pete, me, Pete, me, Pete, or I go, you go.
YG, as they used to call
And
it.
the other rule, which I'm not used to playing, is that there's an Overwatch rule, which means if you're charged, then you can, the unit being charged can shoot. It's at quite a disadvantage, but you still get to shoot. So I'm thinking, even if Pete is close enough to charge me, I should be able to shoot him this go, and then shoot him while he's charging me. So that's my thinking of going first, and the game will open up with my movement phase.
So it's Primaris Marines, turn
So
1.
movement phase, a model can be moved in any direction to a distance in inches equal to or less than the move characteristic on its datasheet. This is all fairly straightforward stuff, although if you haven't played before, it might be not obvious. But basically on the datasheet, you have all your characteristics. So you've got movement, weapon skill, ballistic skill, strength, toughness, wounds, attacks, leadership, and save. Now all of those will come into the game at different points, but at this point in the game I'm only concerned with movement, and the movement of the intercessors is 6 inches.
6 inches?
6 inches, which surprised me. So I'm going to move these.
Mind you, something that's not relevant for new starters, but several older versions of 40k, everybody moved 6 inches.
Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't know that.
They've gone back to everybody gets their own move.
So 6 inches is now I have to be within 3 inches to claim the objectives. I won't be within 3 inches. I move 6.
You could advance, but you probably want to shoot.
Yeah, I think I probably do. I'm going to move 6.
So advancing is where you forego quite often the option to shoot unless there's a few certain situations, and you roll a d6 and you add that to your movement. It represents the guys, getting their head down, sprinting across the battlefield to get into position early. And
you would declare that in your movement phase.
Yes. A bit like AOS, where you declare you're gonna run rather than.
Yeah. And so
the only annoying thing is they've called it advance in this, which is just what people do in general. You advance.
So if you're going to advance, you declare that in the movement phase. But I'm not, because basically if you advance, you can't do much else, and I do want to shoot. I think with pretty much everybody. There
are some weapons that you can shoot whilst advancing with, but I don't think you have them. So.
No, I don't think so. I also have my guy here.
Your sergeant or no, lieutenant?
Lieutenant, and he presumably moves 6 as well. Yes, he does.
Probably all the guys
he does.
Fly as well.
I'm actually going to leave the gap for him.
It's a pleasing formation. It's down there.
There you go. So that's those guys there. So they're going to move.
Yeah.
A handy bendy ruler as provided in the game. And I'm going to break the pipe.
Need to magnetise them.
I kind of assume they were magnetised, Pete. You're so hot on the old magnetising. See, now this bendy ruler is quite useful, look, because it can actually bend it like that. Going to hop over there, and there we go. Now these guys, I'm almost tempted to run them or advance them.
Zippy zippers.
Because they could actually possibly, they move 10. The Inceptors move 10. So if I advance them, I could almost get to the objective. I am going to advance those to demonstrate how advancing works. For the Inceptors, they move 10. They have a movement of 10. And I roll a d6 and add that. So 4. So that's 14. Yeah. So 14 actually gets you straight in through that window, Pete.
Yep.
Are you happy you can fit through that window?
Yeah,
it's slightly narrow.
There's advanced rules which cover falling off of scenery and moving through ruins and things, but for now it's a pretty big window. You can probably get through there quite easily.
Yeah, fly around and then keep keep coherence. So there you go, they're all up there. I've done my movement phase, which is fairly easy, straightforward, and then the next phase will be the psychic phase. Now, the Marine, Primaris Marines don't come with a Psyker in the box.
Yeah,
So effectively, Psyker, for those who don't know, is magic, and they don't have the option to do that. So my psychic phase is very quick. It's over, so the next phase is shooting. So again, we will look back at our data sheet, and I can actually have a number of things I can shoot with. I can shoot with a bolt pistol, I can shoot with a bolt rifle, or grenades, or crack grenades, frag grenades, or crack grenades. And then they all have different ranges. So the bolt pistol only fires 12 inches. So what advantage does the bolt pistol have, Pete? Because it must do something.
So pistols have a special ability. So all your guns have a certain
type. They all have a type.
Yep. So you've got assault, which you can fire even if you run.
Okay.
You've got heavy, which is you can shoot it at a -1 to your hit rolls if you've moved before that. You can't fire that if you advance. You've got rapid fire, which means you can shoot it when you move, and if you're within half the maximum range, you can shoot it twice. Grenades are, every time you shoot a unit, one person in that unit can fire a grenade or throw a grenade.
Okay.
And pistols are same as everyone else, so you can move it and shoot. You can't advance and shoot, but you can also fire the pistol if there's somebody within 1 inch.
So in combat.
Yeah, basically you can fire in combat.
So that's why my bolt pistol will be useful, because I can shoot you. Does that mean I get an extra shooting in the shooting phase?
So the shooting phase, they can you can fire a bolt pistol at people, whereas most other people can't shoot once they're in combat.
Okay. Point out all that stuff that Pete read is all in the core rules. So it's all easily accessible.
And will be free.
And will be free, yeah. Yes.
So
therefore, I'll be looking at using my bolt rifle, which is rapid fire 1, when the 1 means that's how many hits it does.
That's how many dice you roll to shoot.
Yeah, how many shots it does. So it's got a range of 30 inches. Oof.
I'm guessing these guys over here are going to be peppering my poor little poxwalkers.
So they can definitely hit. They're not within half range, and they can all hit. The first thing they have to do is count the number of shots. 5.
5 people, 1 shot piece.
And then the next thing is to work out what we need to hit. And the ballistic skill, which I will inevitably call bow skill before the end of the day, is 3+. So that means I assume I have to roll these and get over 3+ to hit.
You have to get 3+, yeah.
Over 3+. 3+.
No, you have to get 3+.
3 or more.
Not over 3+.
Not over 3+.
So that's 4+.
So 3+. The first roll. Oh, he takes his form through from AOS to. So there we go. What a fantastic collection of dice rolls.
Okay. So now you have to roll to
those of you who do watch our AOS reports will have seen some fairly dire dice rolls from me. And
it's good to see you're continuing the...
and continuing that trend with this new game. These new dice are rubbish. So that's 2 hits anyway, so these dice get thrown away, and I knock some more scenery over. And now I've got 2 hits, so I have to look at the strength. And the strength of this weapon is 4. Now the rules have changed, even for the newcomers. Oh, sorry, newcomers, old timers. The rules have changed in 8th edition. There used to be this is actually one of the whole reasons I'm into the game, is because of the chart with wounds down, strength down one side and toughness down the other. You had to mark off, follow it where it was. So in some ways I'm quite sad they've got rid of it, but they've changed the table completely. There's a new table with called the wound roll table, and basically it tells you the circumstances in what you need to roll. So if your strength is twice that of your opponent's toughness, so all of these, it's still an opposed roll, all of these rolls are against your opponent's toughness. If the strength is twice, then you already roll a 2+. If the strength is just greater but not twice as great, then you have to get a 3+. If the strength is equal to the toughness, then you have a 4+. If the strength is lower, then it's 5+. You can probably see what's happening. If the strength is half that of your opponent's toughness, it's 6+.
Damn.
So no, there is none of that. There used to be on the table, after you've got a certain distance apart, there's NA or N. So you couldn't wound them at all. So everything can wound everything in this game.
But now lasguns can hurt land raiders, and I don't like that.
Yeah,
I actually don't mind that at all. I quite like it. Because the odds
I don't really know what that means. Apparently that's caused a huge amount of sort of upset, like very small ones being able to wound big tanks, but it's still pretty unlikely. My strength of the bolt rifle is 4. Pete, so what is the toughness?
Poxwalker's toughness is 3.
So I will need, therefore, it's greater, therefore I need 3 pluses again. So I need 3s and then 3s. So I rolled my 3s and I only got 2 out of 5. And so out of these 2, hopefully 1 will hit or wound now.
1.
Oh, 1.
Hey.
1. So that was pretty poor return on my intercessors there. Rolling to save now. So this is all on the day sheet. So we go from strength. The next one is AP, which I assume is armor piercing.
Yep, armor penetration.
Armor penetration. So -1.
So that means that I have a save, and my Poxwalker save would then have it reduced by 1 because of your bolt gun's strength.
And again, the save is on the data sheet. It's actually on your profile. So mine, if my intercessor being shot, it's 3+.
Yes. Now my Poxwalker is a 7+. So they,
7+.
Yes. So they can't save anyway,
Okay.
and your -1 makes it 8+. So I still can't save.
Okay.
Now I think they've made it 7+ because there are obviously circumstances where you can get +1 to a save, or cover gives you +1 save as well. So in those situations, they would get +1 save. They would then save on a 6, but they don't. So one of these guys goes.
Killed one. First casualty to me.
First blood.
So then moving down the row, we have our Primaris lieutenant, who has.
He's got bolt guns as well, doesn't
He has an auto bolt rifle.
Ooh. What's that?
Well, I don't know, but it's assault 2.
Oh, okay. So assault weapons can be
It
fired.
only fires 24 inches, so let me just double check that it does hit.
You must be in range because we were 24 inches
Oh
apart
yes,
to
that's
start
a very
with.
good point. Yes, so well I can hit. So
assault weapons can be fired even if you run with a -1 to your hit.
okay, well I didn't run, so I didn't know that. Yeah. So the other things were, I can't remember what the other ones were rapid fire, weren't they? But this one is an assault weapon. Okay, it's an auto bolt rifle, so I suppose that's why it can. There's an automatic element.
Yeah, it's got a little hopper feed on it, hasn't it? So it obviously sprays more bullets.
Yeah, but it's an assault 2, so that's an example of the type there. The assault, and then the 2 is the number of dice it rolls. So although he's only 1 guy, he will roll 2 dice.
2 dice.
And his ballistic skill is 3+ as well. So
3+.
3 or more, and
2 hits.
2 hits. So it's strength 4 against your toughness, which was 3. So it's 3 pluses again.
From the one. Oh, another 2 shot down.
Another 2 shots. Now these don't have any armor piercing ability. And one other thing we didn't say about the weapons, Pete, is that they will have a damage rating, which I assume is the number of wounds they do.
Yes,
should they?
it is.
So some things have more than do more than 1 damage per hit.
Yep, that's right.
But that's resolved after. So you roll to wound, and then if it wounds, then and Pete doesn't save it, then you do the damage. So you don't. I think the way the game used to work back in the day when I used to play Warhammer, you rolled multiple wounds after the save, so you had to save every single wound.
But all weapons just did a wound. So a las cannon did a wound, bolt gun did a wound.
Right.
So
that's 7th, 6th, 7th edition, is it?
Yeah, 7th edition.
Okay.
And that kind of thing. So
okay.
3 guys now dead.
That's 3 dead
as well.
So. So 1 unit is down to 7.
Yep. And I'm going to assume that it's the 7 around this guy.
Okay, that's fine.
Because that makes a nice little 7 blob there, and there's the other 10 over there.
Yeah.
So then we move down the line to these guys.
Now these guys are the same.
Now we've got to try and work out line of sight.
If you ever get the chance to play a game with Pete, then you'll know that he's a generous soul. He's always sort of happy to go for maximum carnage.
I like carnage.
So he's going to allow me to shoot with these 3 guys.
These 3 guys can just about reach the second squad of Poxwalkers over there, the unit of 10 still. So it'll be the second unit that takes the wounds this time round.
Okay, so if you remember from the previous combat, it's 3 pluses to hit. Well, not combat, previous shooting round. It's 3 pluses to hit, 3 pluses to wound. So I'm going to do that quickly this time. So 3s. Really not very good shots today.
I kind of rely on your luck.
They've obviously not got their rifle sights on, but it does do some damage.
And that kills another guy.
So that's 1 more kaputted.
And now this is an important factor, that even though this guy here is out of sight of your guys and massively out of range, he can still die. I can pick the casualties.
You pick the casualties.
Yep. So that makes life a lot easier, because in the old version, without going into a lot of detail, you had to always take the closest ones away, which meant you always had all your captains and your leaders standing right at the back.
Okay.
Whereas now that's not so much the case for your squad leaders anyway. These guys over here advanced.
They advance, so they can't shoot.
Unless their weapons are assault, of course.
Okay, because they can. Oh, I see. Yes, their weapons in Scepter squads are assault 3.
Oh, what? Should have shut my mouth. So these guys, even though they ran, they can shoot their guns. And I'm guessing they're going to be shooting at these guys down here.
So your own models don't block line of sight. That's quite an important rule, isn't it? Especially when they're big and bulky like that.
Yeah.
So I was not
I
expecting
might have just made that up, but I'm 99% sure that is the case.
Okay.
I mean, we'll play with that for now, but I believe that is the
I'll play
case.
that at least for my turn. And then I'll look it up.
So now these guys ran, but they have assault weapons. So this is where assault weapons come into their own. You just have to subtract 1 from your hit rolls.
Okay, so I subtract 1 from my hit. So their BS is 3.
So they're now on 4+ to hit.
4+ hits. So it's 3 hits at 4+.
Are they 3 hits or 3 hits apiece?
Oh, it's 3. It's yeah, right. It's assault 3.
So 3 guys. Each guy has an assault 3 weapon. So that's 9 shots.
9 shots, all at 4+. So suddenly they're suddenly a lot better than I realised they were. So that's an example there of why it's important to study your data sheet. I had no idea that they would be that effective at shooting. But they're actually looking at their weapons, and you can focus in on their weapons. They have got these big kind of blocks of, so yes, in some ways it's not, and 2 of them.
Hopper's my word of the day.
So 4 pluses for these.
Well, Robin Luck strikes a little bit, but that's not too bad still. It's just under half.
And the strength of these weapons is 5. Which I was not expecting. 5? Yeah.
Flipping heck. Right, okay, yeah, my Plague Marines are toughness 5? Yeah, my Plague Marines are toughness 5 as well.
Okay, so
that's force to wound.
Force to wound.
I didn't know Plague Marines were that tough. So any
minus
AP?
1.
Minus
AP.
1, so I have a 3-up save normally, so that goes to 4-up. Rah! I'm safe. So that is the end of the shooting phase.
The shooting phase, yeah, so going through the core rules, the shooting phase, and then the charge phase, well, I have nobody to charge, but you can shoot and charge if you wish.
You can shoot and charge, and importantly, you can shoot one target and charge a different target, which you couldn't do in 7th edition.
Okay.
You had to charge the thing you were shooting at, but you can't run and charge. And these guys ran/advanced, so they can't charge. Some units can. There are some units in the game that can run or/advance, and they can charge. So that you're looking at a lot of turn 1 charges for really assaulty armies.
Okay. And then the fight phase happens if you've successfully charged, or you have people in combat.
There's the morale phase.
Oh yeah, no, they're here. The morale phase.
And people of AOS will be very familiar with the morale phase.
Yes, the morale phase basically measures how likely your opponents are to effectively run away. Oh, he said here, even the bravest heart may quail when the horrors of battle take their toll. Now, I don't know. One thing I didn't mention that the Space Marines have a special ability, which is called "And They Shall Know No Fear," which means you can re-roll your morale rolls. I don't know if Pete, if you have anything.
Nope.
You will standard squelchy bits.
No.
Or something like that. That's
Sadly not.
So Pete, I don't know whether you have a morale test to make over there.
I do not. So my Poxwalkers do have one special ability, which is just called Mindless, which means they never have to take morale checks. Poxwalkers are effectively zombies,
right?
So they just don't stop.
Okay, so they're going to keep coming.
They are going to keep coming.
I never get him. He always plays these armies that don't ever run away. Yeah. That then, Pete.
Skaven. I played Skaven.
Actually, they ran away.
They all ran away.
Actually, they
Droves.
did run away. Actually, didn't they?
I think they only killed like 10%, and then the rest legged it.
They did all run away. So, Pete, I think that is the end of my turn. It's my first ever Warhammer 40,000 turn, and it was moderately successful. The dice rolls could have been better. The rules seem fairly straightforward. I'm liking the data sheets. Everything's nice and easy to hand. Pete, what have you got?
Right, my turn. Death Guard, turn 1. So I'm going to advance everybody up. So I'm going to move my Poxwalkers up over here. These guys can only move 4, unfortunately. In fact, I might as well run them as well.
Okay.
So the unit I just moved, they ran an additional 6.
Wow.
And the other guys, they're also going to advance, and they're going to advance 5.
Oh wow, they've certainly eaten their putrid ready break this morning.
Ready spuke. These guys move an extra 6, which is just enough to take them up to there. And they'll get a bit of colour now. So we'll get...
How does rapid fire work again?
I think you can rapid fire, I think is the answer.
Okay, alright, okay.
And these guys can move 4 plus 5, so they can move 9. These guys moving up to there. So my Noxious Blightbringer, he's just gonna move up to there. So now my Death Guard, now these will move 5 and they are just going to trudge forward 5. I'm going to move them over this way, I think. So basically I'm going to try and riddle your intercessors? No, your Inceptors with Plagued Bolt Frowns. And my Sorcerer's going to move up a bit there. So that is my movement phase over and done with. Now the second phase is Psychic phase. Now I've got a Plague Caster here and he does have some Psychic powers. So my Plague Caster knows Smite, which is the standard Psychic power, and he knows 2 other Psychic powers which I need to roll on. I've got a little table here. So I shall roll these 2, a 3 and a 6. So I've got Gift of Contagion and Plague Wind. Cool, so I shall attempt to cast some of those now.
Blum, blum, blum.
So my Plague Caster...
You can cast 1 a turn, 2 a turn, 3 a turn?
Now it says for each one, I believe. I can attempt to manifest 2 Psychic powers.
Okay.
So I can attempt to do 2 different Psychic powers. So my first one I'm going to do is going to be Smite, which is the basic Psychic power that you get in the rulebook.
Okay.
So Smite is a warp charge of 5, so I've got to roll 5 or more. Then I'm going to cast it on your Inceptors over there. So 2 dice.
You don't need to be able to see them even.
Yeah, I can see them from there.
Okay.
So I rolled 8.
So you smited.
So I have smited them. That causes D3 mortal wounds
Ooh.
on you. So that does 3 mortal wounds.
Ow! So there's no save for a mortal wound,
now
is
there are no saves for mortal
important
wounds.
new rule.
Yes.
That there are no saves for mortal wounds. So I'm a bit stuffed in because I have 2 wounds. So that's 1 dead and one with 1.
So I'll take Blinky Gift.
Ow!
That one there.
Ow!
And then I'm going to also attempt to cast Plague Wind, which isn't as good. So first of all, I've got to try and cast it. Warp charge of 5 again. Cast. Now I roll a dice for every model in your unit, and for any 6s a roll, you get a mortal wound.
Okay.
So it's not very good against 2 blokes, but it's much better against if you had a big unit of guys. So 2 dice. That's another mortal wound.
Another one
So
dead.
that's 2 guys dead.
Okay, suddenly I'm not looking to not looking too good here.
Now, if you had a Psyker within range, you would potentially be able to do a Deny the Witch test, which is a bit like trying to dispel it, where you have to roll higher than me. And if I roll doubles, then that also causes problems, but I haven't rolled any doubles.
Okay.
So that's the end of the Psychic phase. Now it's on to Shootering. So Shooting phase, first thing I'm going to do is my 7 Death Guard down here. I'm going to shoot at your...
So they just think I'm going to go.
Yeah, we'll just let this guy do that. That was actually quite...
Oh, fetid breath over there.
the Malignant Plague Caster. He was a lot better than I thought he was going to be. In Age of Sigmar, you only generally get to cast 1 spell per person, and it's not as effective.
And to be fair, in my experience of you and your magic is that it's normally crap.
Yeah, normally I absolutely suck. But this time round, that was well worth it.
Never mind. Well, that's a learning curve for everybody there.
So I'm going to fire my Plague Marines. He's overcome with the fumes.
It's the mortal wounds. Mortal wounds are I'd say that I struggle to get used to. It's basically, oh, you're dead.
You just a couple of guys get
they're quite painful.
Yes, not many things tend to do that with mortal wounds, but so I've got 7 Plague Marines here, but one of them's got a plasma gun, so I'm going to roll for him separately.
Oh, okay.
And because he has a different stat line on his gun, so I'm going to fire my 6 bolt guns first. In fact, no, I'm not going to fire 5 bolt guns because my champion has a bolt pistol and he's not within range. So as before, I've got 5 bolt guns. I use my Plague Marine's ballistic skill, which is 3+, so 3s to hit. 4 hits, not bad. And the bolt gun is strength 4, and your toughness 4, I assume, so that will be 4s to wound. So that's 2 wounds, very statistical there. So you get 2 saves, and you are in cover now, so you get +1 to your save.
My save for these guys is 3+.
So you go on 2+ then. And Robin's back. He's back in the room.
2 plus, double 1. So he's dead.
Blah blah. He just got shot. I think these dice roll ones more.
Short tutorial video, maybe.
It would be very short. Now, I did have another guy in this unit who had a plasma gun who I was going to shoot at them as well, but now they're all dead. And he can't change his target to someone else. So you have to declare at the beginning of shooting if you want to split your fire between different units. And as I didn't do that, it means I can't shoot at anybody, so that's the way it is. So over here,
boo,
he
ho.
I don't think Robin cares. So over here I've got no shooting effectively because these guys, they've got no ranged weapons at all, and his ranged weapon is quite a close combat pistol. So then we would move on to charging, which there is none, and because these guys ran, and then it would be combat, which there is none, and there would be morale, but they all died, so there is none.
Their morale is not great.
So that is the end of Plague Marines turn 1, Robin. Primaris Marines turn 2.
Okay. Now, something we haven't covered, Pete.
Yep.
I believe, I seem to remember.
No, we talked about your terrible dice rolls.
I believe there's a rule in not iOS, this isn't iOS. I believe there's a rule in the 8th edition 40K which is about targeting heroes, and you can't target them if they're close to other units.
You are correct. You can't target a hero if he has less than 10 wounds and he is not the closest target.
So basically these intercessors here can't shoot at your guy over there.
Not at the minute, because I've put him behind this big wall of literally meat shields to soften the blow somewhat, and to keep him out of harm's way for the moment. Now you haven't with your lieutenant over there. You've plonked him right next to your guys, which is what heroic people should do. But it means he might get taken out easier if I get anybody that way. So anyway, Robin's movemento phase.
So I can move, shoot, and then charge.
You can indeed. And if I had any ranged weapons, I could overwatch.
Yeah.
But I don't. So these guys are moving over here to take advantage of some of the cover, and they're not running, so they can shoot.
Yes.
It is important to know that we started with a very small game of just 25 power points, or I can't remember what they call it, power rating, because we didn't want to go too overboard, but it looks like that could be a very small game indeed.
And you've taken out 8 of mine already.
Yes.
That's 1/3 of my army.
A very fluky set of rolls there.
Let's find out.
So,
Let's continue. So it's going to be my shooting phase.
Shooter in. So you've got your 5 guys there, shooting at my plague doodlots.
Yeah.
Now if you shoot this unit here, I'm not in cover.
Okay.
Because you can see them all.
Well, I'll do that then. I'm going to shoot these guys here.
Yeah.
Rapid fire, bolt rifle, rapid fire, yes.
So I'm within 15 inches, so each of those guys can fire twice.
Okay, brilliant. So there's 5 of them, so that's 10 shots.
Yes. 3s
and 3s. So that's, as Pete said, there's 5 of them and they're rapid fire. So that means I get double shots. There's some 2s.
There's some 2s in there.
But it's not too bad. It's not too bad. We can live with that. We can live with that.
That's almost completely statistically average.
Yep. Oh, that's better.
How many?
All of them.
All of them. That's the whole unit wiped out. So, yep, 7 wounds. That's 7 guys decorated. So Robin has pointed out that this guy is now almost closer, but he's out by about half an inch.
Now you could, of course, house rule that. What I want to say is that actually, although he's closer, not as easy to hit. He's actually easier to hit.
A bit like Necromunda Shadow War, where you had to target the closest thing unless there was a further target away that was easier.
He's big and he's not in cover.
Yeah.
You could house rule that. We're not going to because that's not what the rules are.
So letter of the rule says he is slightly further away than these guys behind cover, so you do have to target those ones first.
Yes. But
this,
I'm going to try.
This is possibly a bit of an edge scenario because you're covering right on the side of me.
I'm try and shoot these guys now anyway.
Okay, so who's shooting first?
He's not very likely to kill all of them. My lieutenant.
Lieutenant, yes.
He's got an assault rifle.
Assault 2?
Assault 2, but it's only 2 hits, so not
3s and 3s again.
He's not going to kill them all.
No.
So 3s and 3s.
2 hits. Oh.
Nice.
Back to type again.
Yeah. So never mind.
So these 5 guys in the middle here now.
Yeah. Well, they're going to have to shoot those guys then, aren't
Yeah, these guys are in. Now, none of them are in 15, so you can't rapid fire any of these guys. So it's just 5 normal shots.
5 shots, 3s and 3s. Did you get cover?
I will, yeah.
Yeah.
So these guys are behind this pipe here, so that counts as cover for purposes of my save. However, you have a -1 on my save modifier with your arm penetration, so I'm still back to 0. 3's to hit. 4 hits, not bad.
Oh!
4 more dead. Squelchy, 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 squelchy. So whilst there was a lot of these guys, they go down fast. So now, Robin, you could charge.
Yeah, I don't actually know if I want to.
So when you charge, you have to declare what units you want to charge within 12 inches. Any of those units that have ranged weapons who are not in close combat already, can then fire Overwatch at you.
Okay, so looking at this combat, I can declare a charge on these because they're obviously within range.
Yep.
But this guy here, if I go around the corner there, that's within 12. Actually, how close do you have to get?
An inch.
An inch. So actually, a 9 would do it with that guy.
I think so, yeah.
And this guy could get there too. He need a 10, I reckon. I have to maintain coherency. So if I declare a charge on both this unit and this hero, can I basically attack a couple there and a couple there with maybe one in the middle?
Yep.
May or may not be able to attack.
Exactly.
Okay, so we'll try that. It's unlikely, but we'll try that. So I will start with declaring a charge against this and this. And at what point do you get to shoot with Overwatch?
I do that now.
That's the point which I declare?
Yes.
Okay,
before you roll charge. So you could end up not rolling very high, getting shot to pieces for no real gain.
Okay.
That's the gamble.
Okay.
So I will fire my
It's funny how these
gun.
things, that makes some sense but in an abstract way.
Yes.
But in this gaming sense, it makes no sense to me because this guy, how do you know? How does he know he's about to be charged?
Yes.
He's got no idea. And there's a pipe and a unit and
there's
in the
all
way too.
kind of chaos going.
But that's fine. The rules is the rules.
So I only hit on a 6, and he's got a plasma pistol, so it doesn't matter that he normally hits on a 3. Overwatch only ever hits on a 6, so 4. That does nothing.
So Overwatch for a single model isn't really that useful, is it?
No, overwatching if you charged a tank would potentially cause more problems for you, or big old units of troops and stuff.
Adeptus Militarum or whatever they're called.
Imperial Guards and stuff like that.
That would.
And I think Tau have a special rule where units that are near the target unit being charged, even if they're not being charged, can still fire as well in a sort of support capacity, which is quite potentially nasty.
Yes.
So, I didn't do anything with Overwatch. You now have to roll for charge.
Okay, so we'll start with these guys here. So basically, it's 2d6.
Yep.
And then that's how far they can charge.
Exactly.
So ready? Here comes the double 1. Oh,
8.
8. So that's not enough to get to the fetid Blight King or whatever he's called.
The noxious Blightbringer.
Yeah, that's
Can't get it right, Robin.
but it is enough.
It's plenty enough to get all the way.
So these guys are going to go.
Now in the advanced rules again, you would class this pipe as a barrier, and it does say that you can just stand either side of the barrier, although they're an inch away anyway, so they can very easily hit each other there.
And this chappie.
And your lieutenant.
Yes, he's going to declare a charge against the same people, so you get an Overwatch.
So again, I get an Overwatch. Yep, any unit can fire any number of times on Overwatch until they get engaged in combat. So he rolls this time a
1.
A 1, brilliant. So he's even worse.
So I'm gonna roll then to charge.
So we'll roll for the charge. 10. I think
that was enough.
Was that enough?
Yeah,
I think so. So he's exactly 11 inches away. So once he moves 10, he will be 1 inch away, which means he's in combat. So
is that our warlord, Spitey?
Yeah. I can't remember what I said at the start, but yeah, let's do that. 'Cause it's going to be more cinematic.
We have real bad history of our warlords fighting. They're now going to
go. Our generals usually suffer from general disease and are generally useless. So we shall see.
Generally useless.
Yes. So on to combat. When you're once we get onto the fight phase, you generally take things in turns and you pick a unit each to fight, a bit like in AOS. But the main difference here is the attacker who did all his charges gets to fight with all his charging units first.
So if you charged 2 units into the same unit, they would both fight before you got to fight back.
Yep.
That could be pretty destructive.
It can be, yes, and it means that when you can get your timing right with a large assault all in one go, you can do a lot more damage than an AOS.
Yeah.
Now there is something later on which will help you interrupt that a bit, but we're not going to be using command points and stuff yet, but they do come into play later on to help with that. So what you do is you pick a unit to fight with to start with, and the first thing you do is a pile-in move, so every model can move up to 3 inches to get into range of an enemy model to attack them. You then have to pick your targets with those models, so if you've got more than one unit, you might want to split your attacks between them. And the important difference there is if you've charged, you cannot allocate any attacks to a unit that you didn't charge or announce the charge against. The number of attacks is on your profiles, Robin will run through in a minute. You do your hits and your wounds and your save pretty much as you would have done during shooting. But it's quite a little difference to AOS, especially in that you can only pile into units that you can pile into any unit, you still have to go to the closest enemy model, but you have to make sure you can only attack those units you charged in that turn. So that's one of the key differences here. So as it is your turn, Robin, you have chosen your...
I'm going to start with, we'll leave the Warlord combat to second.
Yes.
So this is the first melee combat we've had.
Yep.
And we're going to see whether these Primaris Space Marines are worth their weight. I suspect we might find they are.
Yes, I suspect so against these poor little poxwalkers.
Yeah.
Now you don't need to do any piling because you're already within, in base contact already.
I'm imagining, I don't know, but I'm imagining that Primaris Space Marines probably don't get to pile in that often. There's only ever about 5 of them.
Yes, yes, that's true. Generally you get them where they need to be straight away. 2 attacks apiece.
They are 2 attacks. If we look at the stats, they're 2 attacks apiece at weapon skill 3+, but they have a sergeant who actually has an extra attack. So there's 4 of them with 2 attacks. 8 attacks plus 3 for the sergeant is 11. Their weapon skill is 3+.
So this is just like shooting. You just have a 2-hit roll. So that's 7 hits.
And then everything else is the same. So it's strength 4 against your toughness.
3. So again, as you're greater than me, that's 3+ to win.
3+.
It's not too bad. That's 4 wounds. That's 4 dead. Now that's not quite enough
to
wipe out my little poxwalkers.
I can't believe it.
These guys all go. So I've got one poor little poxwalker left. So now it's on to the big guys. It's your lieutenant against my Blightbringer.
Right, I'll just do his melee. So he's got 4 attacks. So his weapon skill is 2+.
This may be a slightly lackluster combat again. But 2+, is he?
Yeah.
Ouch. 4 hits.
4 hits. And then his strength is 4.
So my toughness is 5. So you're on 5.
5. So see, the power sword would have been good.
Power sword wouldn't be good, but then it would have been...
Actually, no, it wouldn't have. Actually, no, it wouldn't have been any better.
Would it not?
No, the strength user, but it's -3 armour.
-3 armour save, so I would have been up to 6s on my save.
No, oh,
1 wound.
1 wound.
Now I've got a 3-up save.
Ooh.
Aha. And I am disgustingly resilient, which basically means I get a 5-up ward save on my wounds. No.
So you've saved.
You've done all of your charging attacks. On your turn, once you've attacked with all the units that you've charged with, you can then pick a unit that hasn't charged, that is in combat to fight with next, but there aren't any in this situation. So now I just basically do all the remainder of my attacks, which is just my Blightbringer.
Now you've got 1 plague box.
That's a good point. I've got my little Poxwalker as well over there. I forgot about him. So I'm going to do him
He's actually
first.
vital, that guy, because
I could do with him surviving a little while. So I'll do him first. They're pretty rubbish though. They're not going to do a lot here. He's on a weapon skill of 5, so he's 5+ to hit. Nope. Didn't think he'd do much. So on to my Blightbringer. He has 3 attacks. He has his cursed plague bell, which he's fighting with, which has the same strength as the user. So he's 3 attacks, 3s to hit. 2 hits. Now I've got a roll to wound, so my strength is 4 on my cursed bell. What's your toughness? 4.
strength 4, toughness 4.
So I am on 4s to wound. No, now the cursed bell is a plague weapon, and plague weapons can re-roll wound rolls of 1. Wound rolls of 1. So I got 1/1. I can re-roll that. 1. Awesome. Unfortunately, disinfected it before the fight. So that is combat over.
The dice rolls are all coming out tonight.
Pretty lackluster there. And then after the combat phase, each person or each unit at the end of each of their combats has a consolidate move, which means they can move 3 inches, so your guys can shifty in a little bit there.
But they have to go towards the closest model, I assume.
Yes, so they have to end up their movement closer than when they started it. So they're always going to gang up on him now, basically. He's in a bit of trouble there. And there's no consolidation here because they're just fighting each other. So that is the end of combat. Then after that comes morale, but again, Poxwalkers are immune.
And I didn't lose any.
Yeah, so that's on to my turn. 2. So I've got nothing over here much left, so I'm just going to move these guys over here. And they're all just going to advance a steady 5 inches into the forest. Into the forest there. This guy's just going to shoot you down by that tree there. So that's pretty much my movement phase done. Nice and quick and easy. On to the psychic phase. Robin doesn't like this phase.
It's not my favourite phase, it's fair to say.
First purchase for Robin is going to be 1 librarian. And I don't mean some old spinstery woman with spiky glasses and a grey bum. Marines obviously have psychers and they are called librarians in this game. Malignant Plague Caster is going to cast Smite to start with as one of his first spells against your unit over there. So, roll to cast. 4, he does not cast it. Fails that one.
That's a shame.
Oh, I can tell. I can hear the disappointment in your voice there, Robin.
I'm so devastated that he's not managed to cast that.
So the other spell he's going to try and cast is going to be Plague Wind. 7, so he did cast that.
Okay.
So I roll a dice for every model you've got.
And a 6.
A 6 is a mortal wound. Nothing! That's the end of the psychic phase.
That was a slightly less
bit more rubbish than the previous one.
incisive psychic phase than the last one.
So my Death Guard in the forest here are going to be shooting your guys over yonder. Now I've got 5 bolt guns and a bolt pistol that are all in range, and they've got the same statistics, so I'm going to roll them all in one go to save time.
Okay.
So the Plague Marines all hit on a 3+.
Nice.
So that's all hits. And they all have a strength of 4, bolt guns and bolt pistols, all have a strength of 4. 4's to wound. So 1 failed to win. So 5 wounds. This is how you do it, Robin. So not in cover, so you just have your standard 3-up saves, because I have no AP on these weapons.
Just the one. Well, you say busters, but I've got 2
There are 2 My poor old Plague Marines, which are technically good old-fashioned Marines from 10,000 years ago.
They're ill. That's the problem. They've been ill for 10,000 years.
I don't like this. So you take 1 wound on one of your guys over there, so you just got to put a marker. I forgot the bolt guns are, my bolt guns are rapid fire, so I've got another 5 shots here. So 3's again to hit. Woo! And 4's to wound. Boom. So 2 wounds, Rob.
3
up
plus.
to save.
Double 6!
Double 6 here, so nothing there. And then the only other thing I've got is my plasma gun. Now he's not in rapid fire range, so it's just 1 shot for him. 3's to hit. That's a hit. Now, plasma guns are scary. They are strength 7. Now it's not double your toughness, so it's 3's to wound. That wounds, and it does have an AP of -3.
-3?
-3.
It is -3, so that's 3 plus, so it's
6 plus
6
to
plus.
save.
So first, how many wounds does it do?
1. It will only do 1.
You
So
need double 6.
That's just enough to take off the injured guy. Not bad. Could have been better, could have been worse. So we are on to the charge phase, of which there is no charge. Well, you know what, actually?
I was going to say, you might as well.
I might as well. You do get to rapid fire at me.
Do I? Get to overwatch you.
You get to overwatch me with rapid fire. But I'm in cover, so I've got 2 up
Do I
saves.
get fire twice, even on overwatch?
Yeah, you just fire your guns however they are. It's just that you only hit on a 6. I forgot my Plague Caster also has a bolt pistol, which is going to take a pot shot at them as well. Which he misses.
It shoots his foot off.
Now my Death Guard are going to charge, or declare a charge at least, at your Primaris Marines there. So you get to do some rapidly shootery. Now you're all in rapid fire range, so that's 8 shots.
Look, you'll need a 7 to reach.
7? 7? Yep. So Overwatch on these guys, firing rapid fire.
Looking for the 6s. 0 6s!
Hooray!
Well done, guys.
And now my charge range. 5.
5.
No.
So you don't.
So I don't charge,
Okay.
and you didn't kill me.
Well, that was very successful.
We just stand in the woods, and you guys went, "Don't charge us." Okay. So we're on to combat over there. So I get to go first.
Oh, I forgot we could come right over there.
Yes.
So actually, my guys are going to be free.
Yes, they will probably. By your
Unless,
turn.
well, I don't know, I might have a dice rolling moment.
Yeah, well, you could have a Robin moment, couldn't you? So I'm going to fight with my. No, I'm going to attack with a Poxwalker. Just going back quickly, I forgot that my Blightbringer has a plasma pistol, so he's going to level that at your general and shoot in the face.
That's just mean.
I know.
5
hits a hit. Strength of 7, so 3s to wound.
Oh.
Hooray! A 1. No wound. So on to combat. So over in combat now. Combat properly this time. Definitely this time. The fight phase. So my Poxwalker's going to have a quick stab before he gets trampled to death. So my Poxwalker, weapon skill of 5+ to hit. Misses. Hooray! That was quick. So now on to Robin.
Well, I'm going to attack with my general.
Yeah. So 4 attacks. Choose to hit. And now he's strength 4, but I'm toughness 5, so it's 5s to wound.
But I can reroll 1.
Yep.
Which do I know?
Got 1 wound. And I get a save of 3 up as usual. No! Oh, I've got my disgustingly resilient save.
Okay.
No! So he takes a wound.
Way. And now he's going to fight back.
He's going to slap you back now with his cursed bell. So he has 3 attacks, and I'm on 3s to hit. 3 hits.
3 hits.
And I am on strength 4, so that's 4s to wound. And now I have a plague weapon, which re-rolls 1s to wound. So that's 2 wounds.
2 wounds, thank you. 2 wounds. I get a save of 3+. Are there any minuses?
No minuses at all on this one, but it is damage 2.
Okay, well I failed 1.
Failed 1, so that's 2 damage.
2 damage.
So there's 3 wounds remaining. Ooh, it's getting close over there. And now your Primaris means you're going to stomp him into the dirt.
That is the plan. 11 attacks at 3+.
10 hits.
I actually got some good dice rolls in there.
He's on 3s to wound. I think I'll just take the model off. He's thoroughly dead. So he died. Poor little Poxy dead.
He had 2 attacks, that's quite
He
good.
did have 2 attacks, I've got to roll it
Quite
too.
good.
So these guys can now consolidate.
Okay, in that case, yes. Happy with that?
Yep, so they're all coming over there. Give them a right roll kicking.
Yes, there's an important distinction there for those of you who play AOS and don't play 40K or haven't played 40K or this new version. You can't shoot into combat.
Yes.
AOS you can shoot into combat. So actually there I was thinking, oh, I might line up, shoot him and then charge. And actually this makes much more sense.
Yes, I agree.
So that's what I'm going to do. But
However, they do
have
all have pistols, so they
pistols.
can still shoot those into.
Yes, but we have we haven't quite finished your phase yet, have we?
Well, we kind of have, because the only other thing is morale.
Morale, I lost 1 there. Does that?
What's your leadership?
My leadership is there's a sergeant. So did you do it off the sergeant?
I didn't off the sergeant. You choose, so I'm guessing you didn't remove the sergeant.
Or not deliberately?
No.
I kind of assumed it was like I haven't done my models yet, but I kind of assumed the sergeant was there to the end like they do in AOS.
Yeah, pretty much. It's just cause as long as you don't accidentally take him off.
Okay. Well, yeah, but you're nice, aren't you? So.
Yes, I am.
And they all look the same. So
Such a nice
who
man.
knows? This actually is the sergeant at the end.
Yes.
So he would be 8. 8.
So you can't fail, because what you do for morale is you roll a dice and you add the number of models you lost, and then
So
for every
1 dice.
1 dice, add the number of models you lost. For every the difference between that and your leadership, if you go over your leadership, every point you go over your leadership, another model
So with a
disappears.
leadership of 8, if I roll a 6, I'd have to lose 3 models.
You'd
even
have
if
to
I
lose
rolled
at
a
least
6.
3 to lose another model.
Okay, so yeah, so that's.
Yes.
And again, Primaris Marines, they even get to re-roll it, so the chances of them losing any in a small game is
even
almost
slimmer. Yes.
almost impossible. I would have said.
Pretty unlikely, at least, which is kind of realistic for Marines. You know,
They're not meant to run away.
they're the most stalwart of humanity's defenders. So, anyway, so that's Marines' turn. Trois. Robin's turn.
Turn 3. We have 5 turns, don't we?
We do have 5 turns. I suspect this is going to be a someone's wiped off the board before the end kind of situation.
Yes.
But we shall
I think
see.
you might be right.
We
So
shall
it's
see.
movement first.
These
I'm
guys
going to go for it. Death or glory.
for the Emperor and pizza. So this isn't necessarily the most tactically sound of manoeuvres by the Primaris Marines. Normally what they would probably do is fall back a little bit, consolidate the position and open fire, but there's no fun in that.
Anyway, I'm actually going to throw grenades at you.
So movement phase we're done on because everybody over here is in combat, and so there's
Yes.
no other movement to do because there were 3 guys over here. I don't know where they went. They sort of ran away after a little while.
They didn't do it, they just died.
Yeah, they just went, nah, we've kind of had enough. So
So
next
shooting.
phase will be psychic, but that doesn't
No,
count.
there is no psychic.
And then we're on to shootering.
Shooting. Well, I'm going to use my pistols in combat over here.
Pistoles! Yep, so pistols have a special rule. You can use a pistol even if you have an enemy model within 1 inch of you. So you can use a pistol when you're in combat, but you do have to shoot it at the people you're in combat with, effectively. In this case that doesn't matter because they are in combat with the guy they're going to shoot in the face. It's 5-bolt pistols.
Well, I'm actually going to do 6 because the other guy is the same.
Right, okay,
He's
yeah.
the same. So the lieutenant is the same. So he's got 6-bolt pistols.
6-bolt pistols, so 5 Primaris Marines
That's 3
and 1
plus-
Primaris Lieutenant.
3 plus then.
3 plus to hit.
Oh
Goodness me.
Goodness.
Is your Primaris Lieutenant on 3 plus as well?
He is.
Alright.
And then it's strength
5s.
4.
5s to wound.
5 to wound.
Goodness
I've got
me.
5.
I don't think it's a sum thing. Oh.
Well done,
Robin.
lads.
Robin.
So grenades, they have a strength 6 and they do D3 hits.
They do. So grenades are special in that if a unit has grenades, whenever a unit shoots, one member of that group can throw
Only
grenades.
one, so I can't have.
Only
I can't
one,
fire
so
4 grenades in there. That would be,
Not everybody.
that
That
would
would be
be-
quite.
That would be good.
That'd be quite funky, but no. So whilst the other guys lay down sort of some covering fire, one of the
Okay.
guys holsters his weapon and
Chuck the
looses a grenade.
Okay.
So you then have a choice in a lot of cases, and I think your guys have crack and frag grenades.
I might as well try the frag grenade.
Yep.
D6.
So it is grenade D6, which means you roll a D6 first, and that's how many shots effectively you get. You then roll to hit with those.
Yeah.
Which is a bit weird, because battle cannons do it as well. So it's a bit like a battle cannon fires 6 shots, or D6 shots, and then you roll to hit for each one, so you might only hit with one of them, but I guess it just represents the variable range of explosions and stuff like that.
So D6 then. So here
D6
comes the
frag
1.
grenades.
6.
So 6 shots with your frag grenade, 3s to hit, and 5s to wound.
3s to hit, 5s to wound. Here come the 3s.
There's the one. There are the ones. Well done, Robin. Good lord. These red dice roll a lot of 1s. No wounds.
Okay.
And then you've got 3 bolt guns, rapid firing as well.
Yeah.
So that's 6 more shots. 3 plus to hit with these. There we go.
Ooh.
5 hits.
And
Considerably
then
better.
4.
5s to win because I'm
5s to
toughness
win,
5.
yeah. Oh.
3 wounds.
3 wounds, and it's -1.
Ooh, 1 wound. Disgustingly
What are they
resilient.
saying? 2 plus.
3 plus, but I'm in cover. So, yes, I went a bit faster. I rolled 2 3s. My save is 3 plus. You have a -1 from your weapon, but I get a +1 for being in cover, so it's still 3 plus. I rolled a 2, and then I rolled for my disgustingly resilient, and I got a 5.
That's pretty good.
Disgustingly
Yeah,
resilient
it's
does
pretty
make you
good.
quite
It's
disgustingly
pretty good.
resilient.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It is disgustingly resilient.
Yeah. Right, now I wish my guy hadn't done that because I'm going to die.
But where would the fun be in running away? That's the shooting phase over done. So now it's on to the charge phase.
So I'm going to declare charge against this guy and these, I think.
Both of them. Okay.
Yeah.
So I roll my Overwatch. So my Plaguecaster's bolt pistol firing Overwatch. No. 5 bolt guns rapid firing. 6s to hit. 1. I've got a hit. 4s to wound. I got a wound. 3 up save because I don't have any AP on mine. Ooh, I've caused a wound to him. My bolt pistol in that unit as well. Doesn't hit. And my plasma gun in that unit doesn't hit. Boo. But that's that done. So 1 wound caused. And now you roll for charge. 6, so you're in. So there's the combat. These guys are all piling in here. Now my Power Fist guy is stuck around the back here, so he's not going to get into combat for a turn or two, and whilst he shimmies around.
Don't try and kill your wizard.
Robin's really going to have a go at my playcaster here. He does not like him. He's not a fan. So, this is slightly different now in that we've got a combat ongoing over here, but there were no charges here, so we have to resolve the charge first.
Oh, yes.
So Robin, you resolve your charging units first, and that is these guys. And it's also worth pointing out, if you had only declared a charge against my caster, your 2 guys here wouldn't have been able to go in there because they'd be within an inch of an enemy unit they didn't declare a charge against.
Got shot.
So you took a wound, but sometimes it's worth taking that slight damage if you want to go for somebody who you wouldn't necessarily otherwise be able to go at. So 4 guys, 2 attacks piece, plus 1 for your champion.
So 9 attacks.
9 attacks, 3s to hit. Not bad. And 5s to wound.
Oh!
That was pretty good. 3 wounds.
3 wounds.
So on 3 up saves. Oof. And 5 up disgustingly resilient. Oh my god, I haven't failed one. That is ridiculous. So he just sort of shrugs and says, no, I don't care. So now that's your charged units out of the way. You now attack with one of your other units. 11 attacks, 3s to hit. Oh my word. How is someone humanly able to roll that number of 1s and 2s? GW, we don't like your red dice. Well, Robin doesn't like your red dice. I love them.
5s.
5s to wound, because I'm highest toughness. A wound. And a save. So now I get to pick a unit. I'm going to pick my... I might as well pick my Blightbringer over there to swing back at your general first. Blightbringer, 3 attacks, 3s to hit. 3 hits. Strength 4, toughness 4, so 4 to wound. 2 wounds. Now these are 2 wounds apiece on the cursed blade bell.
3 plus save, no?
3 plus save, there's no negatives to it.
3 plus save. Oh, I made them both.
Ching ching! Okay, so now it's your general's turn to attack back.
2 plus to hit.
4. Need to reroll 1s on wound, is it?
Yep.
Due to his special ability, whatever
It's
it is.
5 in range, is that right?
5s to wound, yep.
Oh, got 2
Got
ones.
2 ones. It says 1 wound. In fact, pass my save, unless you're -1. No, you haven't got +1.
No, I haven't got a power sword.
So no wounds taken there. So now it's onto this combat here. So my caster is going to attack first. So my plague caster has 3 attacks and he's on 3s to hit. 2 hits, and I'm on strength 4, so 4s to wound. 1 wound. Now this is -1 AP, so you're on 4s to save. Saved. Ching. And then it's onto this other unit here. Now they have to pile in up to 3 inches. Pile in there. So we were just saying it's pretty easy to get everybody within an inch of somebody who's in combat. So pretty much my entire unit is either within base to base or within an inch of someone who is in base to base. So everybody could swing. So I'm going to attack with my Plague Champion first. Now he has 2 different hand-to-hand combat weapons. He's got a Plague Sword and a Power Fist, and I'm going to opt to do both my attacks with the Power Fist. So you have to pick what weapons you're attacking with before you swing with them. So you could, if you want to spread it out a bit more, you might mix it up a little bit. I'm just going to do 2 on the Power Fist. So normally I'm on a 3+ to hit, but because Power Fist is quite bulky, I have to subtract 1, so I'm on 4s to hit for this. 2 and a 4, so 1 hit. Now the good thing about a Power Fist is that it doubles my strength, so I'm up to strength 8. So I'm on 2s to wound. That's a wound, and it's -3 to your save, so that is 6s to save.
And how much damage is it?
It's D3, so one dice to save.
Nope.
Does not save, and I cause D3 wounds. 3. Now, you've already got a guy who's wounded, and wounds don't spill over, so I still only cause 1 wound there. So I possibly didn't do that in the right order. I'll do my other attacks now. So I've got 6 other attacks.
So there's little things like that which mean you have to think
A bit more about what you're doing.
And it's different to AOS.
Yes, because
And
wounds
so-
just spill over across them all,
and so
whereas
it's a
in
hard
this,
thing to
they
get
do
your head
not.
around.
And it kind of makes sense in a way, but it is completely different to AOS in that respect. So, okay, so I've got 6 more attacks, 3s to hit. That's 4 hits, and I'm on 4s to wound, 2 wounds, and these have no save modifiers at all, so 3s to save.
Oh, both.
Both save.
My
Ching,
dice rolls have
ching.
suddenly picked up.
Yeah, there we go. We've done fight phase. I'll just quickly move my guys in here. They can all move. So, no consolidation going on over there. And so that's the end of the combat phase, and morale-wise, you didn't lose enough guys to be able to fail, and I haven't lost any guys there. So it's on to my turn.
Yes. So your turn 3.
My turn 3. Time for movement. Movement done. So the psychic phase, he's going to attempt to cast Plague Wind Psychic Power first, because that means I'll roll 3 dice rather than possibly less if I do the other one. So, let's cast that one. 10. So that's cast. 3 dice. No mortal wounds though. And then I'll attempt to cast Smite as well on the same unit. 3 failed. Boo. Pretty much the same as last psychic phase, I think. So that's the psychic phase out of the way. It's onto the shooting phase. Whilst all my units are in combat, they all do have pistols, or some of them have pistols, so I'm going to use those now. Okay, so over here, my champion and my plague caster both have bolt pistols, and they both have the same 2-hit roll. So I'm just going to roll 2 dice, 1 for each, to save a bit of time shooting their pistols at this unit in combat. 3s to hit, 2 hits, 4s to wound, 1 wound. No minuses to save though, so ooh, 1 wound, so there's a wound on him. And then my Blightbringer over here is going to shoot his plasma pistol at your guy.
My general.
Your Generalissimo. I'm going to charge it as well. It adds 1 to the strength and 1 to the damage, so that would make it strength 8 and 2 damage.
Wow. Just don't roll a 1.
But if I roll a 1 to hit, he will die. Oh. He will
These
die.
dice are, there's something fishy about these dice.
So my Blightbringer blows himself up with his pistol. Oh dear, there's a Blightbringer shaped hole there now. That didn't go according to plan. I was hoping I might nuke your guy. I nuked a guy.
Just the wrong one.
On to combat then. So we're over here. So I'm just going to start combat. I'm going to use my sorcerer's going to attack first. Since it's my turn, I pick a unit first. My plague caster. He has 3 attacks, 3s to hit, 3 hits, and he's on 4s to wound. No wounds. And now it's your guys. So Primaris reads 7 attacks on my plague caster, 3s to hit. 4 hits, it's not too bad. Right below average. 2 wounds. 3s to save. And I've got my disgustingly resilient.
Oh,
no,
what's that wound? Can the horses attack now?
Please. Well, you never remember normally. So go on then. And now it's my noble Marine's turn. So they're gonna, and these guys are gonna pile in here. 6 plague Marines attacking with 3s to hit, 4 hits and 4s to wound.
Ooh,
awesome.
Those
And
dice
then
are a bit shady, aren't they?
They are a bit shady, yeah. And then my plague champion, he is going to attack with his power fist on both again. So his 3+ to hit goes to a 4+ to hit. 1 hit, but it's on a 2+ to wound. 1 wound, 6 to save, or it's D3 wounds.
No,
D3
I'll take this
wounds.
one off there.
Oh, that's a good point. 'Cause one's already wounded.
Yeah.
So even though I caused 2 wounds, again the wounds don't spill over. So that's 1 guy dead. That's combat, and morale is once again pretty 0. So it's on to Robin's turn 4. So Robin, you're turn 4 and you're conceding.
That's not quite what we said.
No, I think
This is a training game, if you like, to try and go through most of the things, the mechanics of the game. And actually, we've done a few things that we wouldn't have done necessarily. So we just had a discussion off camera, and I decided to move out and throw the grenade. so you can see how grenades worked, which I think has turned out to be a pretty disastrous decision because they might last
Then
another
they're getting
turn.
chopped down.
But they might last another turn. It's interesting in terms of the game because I think if you look at this position over here, I could actually hold these two objectives for 2 turns, and if these guys survive, then I shall win. But of course, Pete probably only charges Power Fist in this situation on account of the fact that he wanted to show you what that was like, and that was catastrophically bad for him. And actually, if he hadn't done that, then I'd still be fighting here, and I think we'd be grinding out a draw, possibly with a Nurgle win, because I think he'll kill those before the end.
I think their days are numbered.
So I'm losing 1 a turn. No, not 1 a turn. I'm losing 2 a turn, which means that by the end of turn 4 they'd be gone. Turn 5, Pete would have this objective here. So I think we're going to call it a draw. You've seen how the game works. I have a few thoughts about it, which we'll wash up in a second.
Yep.
Have you got anything else to add, Pete, before we have to wash up?
No. Take it small. That wasn't bad. How did you find your first game of 40k?
That could have been worse. I think that the dice rolls in this game are atrocious.
They were absolutely
I think
terrible.
somebody should do something about that.
Yeah.
I think I'm looking for games which I'm looking for better dice rolls.
This is unacceptable, and we will not stand for it.
Yeah.
That's why I decided to sit
I
down.
don't think it's some kind of random freak character. I think it's a deliberate ploy.
No, but surely you'd want to make them all roll 6s and stuff then, because everyone would make their saves if you were going to do it deliberately.
I want them 6s when I
Let's see.
well, no, I mean, all these things, it always feels like the game's full of bad dice rolls. And actually, I probably need to sit back and look at it.
If we actually watch the day, we just
and
find
it's probably about 50. It's probably like a spread like that.
We find that every single dice roll, we rolled 4 dice and we needed 4 plus, and we got 2. And we've gone, oh, that's terrible.
Well, I think I had a number of dice rolls that were
you did have
below
some,
average, but you forget the ones. Like I rolled a double 6 at one point. And
that's
also
to be etched into your brain for years.
And also there was another dice roll which was, I think, over here. I only need to kill one guy. I rolled about all 5s and 6s.
You did roll
so these things do balance out, but they didn't seem to today. But anyway, that's absolutely nothing to do with the game.
No, but terrible dice. But terrible dice aside, how did you find the mechanics of the game?
Well, I like them. I like them. I prefer shooting to combat.
Yeah, I think unless
more
you've got
interesting.
combat centric, and if you've got a combat unit with some
Maybe.
power weapons and some special sort of combat attacks and things, you're going to enjoy it more. You're going to do more stuff. Whereas
I think I was lulled into a slight sense of false security by how easy your things over there were to kill.
yeah, those guys died pretty
But those
rapidly.
death guards are really hard.
I don't think I failed a single disgustingly resilient
really
roll.
hard.
My guys really are disgustly resilient.
But again, I think it was slightly against the. I think you were slightly lucky.
I was very lucky there. I think I made several, and I think I made every single one apart from one on my plague cast at one point.
But even so, they're still hard to kill, which I hadn't expected now. But it became a bit of a grind. That was my only gripe with the game. It became a bit of a grind. Now that could be because we haven't got very many troops, so very quickly it was combat. Whereas if you had a bigger game, you probably wouldn't
got
commit.
tanks
You
and
would
flyers.
Well,
and
yeah,
stuff
I
like
haven't even think about those. I have no idea how they work at all. But even if we just had more units, you wouldn't commit them all to fighting so much. So I'd have been. I mean, you can't shoot into combat though, can you?
You can't.
So actually,
plus, you'd have heavy weapons teams that are going to be deliberately sitting back and taking shots off at people, and you're going to have assault units that are going to be sprinting forwards to take objectives and screaming around in rhinos and stuff like that. And I think for the size of the game we did, because we did a 25 power rating. Power rating of 25 is the correct English term, really, when I say that. But anyway, we did a 25 power rating, which is about 500 points, and 500 points is a tiny game. It's a very small game, and you feel that once you've only got like a couple of units. The minute you lose a unit, like once I lost my poxwalkers, I've just got my death guard left, so it was just moving them around. So.
That was okay, but it became a bit of a grind for me. Just like I've got a roll of dice, and they're all quite good in combat. And you didn't do very much damage to me. I didn't do very much damage to you.
Yeah, I think it's because whilst we're average in combat, we're both quite resilient as well. Yeah. So we've got good saves. Marines are obviously your standard benchmark for pretty tough and my Death Guard are even tougher. So, yeah, I think it can get into a bit of a war of attrition.
I haven't found that hasn't happened in AOS combat as float. We had the odd one.
Generally, people are chopping each other to pieces.
But of course, that wound rolling over thing that we did touch on will make a difference there.
Yes.
You know, you distribute 6 wounds on a unit. That's 6 dead often in AOS.
Yeah.
Whereas in this, it would only be 1 potentially.
Yeah. But I think the mechanics are pretty simple. There's certainly no tables to sit there and scratch your head over or any bizarre things.
I'm sounding a bit like we're unduly negative. No, I'm being unduly negative. It's very, very easy to follow.
Yeah.
And it doesn't. It's a little bit difficult to remember all the different. Not remember the weapons, but you've got to look.
There's about 5 or 6 different weapons, I think. Of six or so different weapon types. And
that's quite nice. Quite enjoyed the fact that when you did shoot fighting me, you did come up with a different thing every turn.
Yeah, so you got your rapid fire weapons that fire twice once you get close, and you've got your assault weapons. And I think assault weapons would be more useful or coming through a bit more in bigger games, because again, you can have a unit that you're going to sprint ahead a bit like your Inceptors did, and they're just going to keeping you up.
Yeah, you're again. Always this stage of the game.
As is always the way, it's very late again, and but the assault weapons and stuff, like when you do sprint forward with a unit, and you can then still use those, they can throw your opponent off a bit, because when they originally came over and jumped over here and ploughed 9 shots into me, I was immediately thinking, I'm in trouble here. These guys are going to cause me a lot of grief.
They were really good, and then suddenly they were all dead.
And then my caster almost took them out in 1 turn single-handed, which was
unexpected, because casting in AOS isn't that
not normally quite that brutal.
No, isn't it? But I think you were a bit lucky, or latterly unlucky, because you didn't do anything else the rest of the game.
No, I don't think you really did that much. So I was very lucky. I think my first turn psychic phase with him was very lucky, and then after that it was a bit lacklustre. So
I kind of feel like my tactic in that game should have been to try and pull you about as much as possible and shoot you, and then try and dive in for an objective at the end. The objectives are a little bit in that one, a little bit not misleading, but sort of AOS mentality. You've got to get the objective straight away. Actually, it's actually really, because you can move quite quick.
Especially the
it's only really the end of the game you actually want to make sure you've got the objective in that
particular. Because we rolled the one up where you only grab them at the end. If it was the one where you get a point a turn, and you want to get in there quick,
a little bit better.
You might change your tactics a bit there. But so I think, I did manage to kill my own general, so that gave you D3.
I enjoyed that. So I won.
Well, you probably almost are starting to get ahead there. It would all then depend on how quickly I can finish your guys.
I could just run my general off into the corner.
You could just run off and sit there screaming, quivering wreck in a corner somewhere. So I don't think it was a loss by any stretch for you.
No, it wasn't.
I think it was going to get into a more of a stalemate.
Yeah, which is perhaps inexperience, or possibly just it's never great when a game into the stalemate. I don't know why I put that on my finger.
Robo finger. It's for PowerPoint.
Oh dear.
It's getting very late then.
Yeah.
I that's the first game of 40k I've played in years. It played a lot differently to how I remember it used to playing. There was a lot less trying to work stuff out.
Well, certainly I haven't played 40k ever, so I can't say it's so much easier than that.
Yeah.
It was so much easier. I kind of read the rules, because I have got the 7th edition rules, and I read them, and it was kind of, to me, I know the unit structures and things were different, but to me it harked back to old style Warhammer Fantasy Battle, with loads of tables, loads of different things, lots of dice rolling, and it just didn't catch me, because I haven't played AOS. It didn't catch me. I thought, I can't actually face sitting down and working out all
the rules with all the different things, which are all in the main rule book, but you've got a unit that says, they have this rule, so then you have to go to the main rule book to find that out. You just sit there going, what is that again? This brings it all back into one place. You've got your data sheet, or whatever, I can't remember what it's called.
Data sheets, I like the data sheets. Data sheets are good. If you play OS, the war scrolls are very, very similar.
Yeah. Just puts it all in one place. You put your
really
page,
handy,
everything you need right there.
Everything is there, and apart from the fact that I didn't read them properly through, so I forgot one of my abilities. It's just like playing iOS.
Just like
it's really good that everything is there. Well, we'll perhaps touch on that in a different video. But if I had a big army, I think I'd want them not in a book or pieces of paper.
Yeah, I think I'd definitely, if I
something.
with the get the
Is there an app?
rules.
Is there going to be an app? Is there going to be like a?
Oh, there must be.
Yeah,
Surely they're going to do an app. I mean, you can get the indexes in PDF in an EPUB format.
They're not free though, are they?
They're not. So
yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
So you
I
probably
mean, there might be an
won't.
app at some point. There might be like an AOS thing, but then there probably won't be because the AOS War Scrolls were free.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but you never know.
Well, there could be an app that because you can pay for the not free.
the army building
Can pay for
portion of the app,
Yeah.
which is £1 a month or something. I think a lot of people will
Does
have
that
to
give
pay.
you everything?
So I mean, I do find because in 40k you want more scenery, and we could have done with probably shoving all the stuff we had up onto there. But I do find that makes it a bit more immersive. There's more scenery. It makes the table look a bit more
Yeah, I don't know. It's
involving.
really hard to know. I mean, I like the scenery. We've got good scenery. The GW scenery is
The Shadow Wall, Armageddon stuff.
But it's really nice. It makes the board look nice, even though it's not painted. It still looks nice. And obviously we love our ruins from gamemat.eu. The beauties. And I wonder whether that would, if we actually had more scenery on the board, whether that would change the dynamic, whether you get less attritional combat
in 40k or in AOS.
40K.
I definitely think the more terrain you've got, the more you've got to be canny about your deployment and where you're going to move units to, because obviously shooting is a big thing in 40k still, so you definitely want to make sure you can keep.
I definitely want to try out my Primaris Marines again. I want to bring in the other squad that we haven't used tonight and just see how
Hellblasters? Hellblasters, I think.
Yeah, I want to see how they work.
And they're plasma gun guys, so
Yeah.
they terrify me.
They're 10
points.
Power
But then I could bring my blight drone for
Yeah.
10
Yeah.
points, and I quite like to bring him in as
It's quite cool.
blighty.
I actually like my Inceptors to actually survive more on its own as well.
Yeah. Well, I think it was lucky that I wiped them out, but they were. Yeah, I think they were unlucky. I was lucky. I'm not sure which.
I mean, you were lucky.
Yeah.
They didn't do anything. It's just
No.
sat there. You shot them. Bit of a learning curve. I worry that I will never understand how the game works, and therefore you will always win. But
I don't really think I understand
We'll see
how the
that.
game
We'll
works
see how
either.
it goes.
I think your Inceptors are a bit like the AOS equivalent with the wings, so
yeah.
they're not necessarily a close combat unit, because
No.
you see their backpacks, and my first thought for them was they're assault marines, but the guns they have.
Guns are amazing. Again, not understanding, not knowing how the game works. I couldn't believe it. There was 9 hits.
Those guns were
and they had
really
quite
nice.
some decent.
But they're not
armor piercing.
But they're not a close combat unit,
no.
so they're definitely a mobile support unit.
Theoretically, I inadvertently put them in a really good place, but then you killed them anyway. So
Yeah.
it wasn't so good.
Yeah.
One thing that did keep coming across my mind when we were playing, and it's not really anything to do with the game, and it's more of an AOS thing. Do you think they're going to bring any of these subtle changes
Into AOS?
into AOS? Like the biggest one would be the shooting and combat rules.
Well, I
think.
would have thought the bigger one would be either that, or possibly the bigger one might be that charging units get to strike first,
Yeah.
because that is a big difference to AOS.
Yeah.
And if in AOS you manage to time a massive advance to all crash in at the same time, you then still only attack with one unit, and then your charge gets blunted by somebody attacking back. Whereas in this, if you manage to get some cooperation going, and you get a lot of units land at once, you're going to annihilate your opponent before they can
And
do
the
it.
shooting characters will change the game big time.
I would, that would, and I wonder whether they would do that, because there are a lot of characters that give a lot of bonuses in AOS, possibly more so than in 40k, and I wonder whether they would. Because you've got your generals
You'd have to
abilities
change.
and
You'd have to
things like
change the
yeah,
change the dynamic quite a lot. So
I think it would.
you suddenly couldn't shoot.
Yeah,
heroes.
maybe not. I don't know. I mean, maybe we'll have to try implementing those in our AOS games and see how much it changes the game.
If we had enough AOS games to do that, I would tell you to do that. But we don't have enough.
This is true. We'd have to play that double-digit numbers to get a feel for it.
Learn the rules of the actual game before we start fiddling with it.
Yeah. We're way off that, yeah.
So
But hopefully that covers all the phases of the basics of 40k, and you get a feel for how the game works to start with, and how really easy it is. Really, I mean, the basic rules are really simple.
They are, and you could actually, if you weren't that bothered about having a sort of exciting game, you could either just play that. If you weren't sure, you could just play that with 1 or 2.
Just as a unit and a character or something.
Yeah, unit and character, and you could. You haven't got to worry about the psychic base particularly, but you could do You could do movement shooting and combat, and you cover those with
you're going to cover.
As long as you didn't have the plague bearer or whatever.
Poxwalkers,
because they don't shoot. But if you had Death Guard against some Primaris, you get to see those with Death Guard.
Does your unit of 5 guys is 6?
Yeah.
And my unit of 7 guys is 9. So you could get 2 units of those for 12, and you could have a unit of Death Guard and then some Poxwalkers for another 3 points to have a small. Yeah, so that's a cut.
That'll be a thing to do. Try it. I don't think it will be occupied for very long.
You wouldn't want as much scenery. You certainly wouldn't want to putting out as much scenery, but the other thing enables you to start playing around with things and to start experimenting.
For beginners to the game, we would have a think about scenery, maybe do a video or something, because actually, if you've just bought the game, you're not going to have a lot of scenery. You're lucky.
You probably won't have anything.
You've built up a lot of scenery. Think about things you could use. I've got some cardboard boxes to spray grow.
Yeah.
Interesting video. Let us know if you've got any ideas for getting quick, cheap scenery.
There are so many DIY videos out there to do stuff like I watched one guy did a video where he had expanding foam and made loads of mountains out of it all.
Yeah, but they're quite complex. If you've just bought, you've just bought Warhammer 40,000 for your 9-year-old, unless you're
already an addict yourself.
I'm not going to be using expanding foam.
No, possibly not. No, true.
I'm trying to find, especially for parents, trying to find quick and easy. Also, got stored stuff quick and easy with Lego.
Lego's a good one. Yeah, made lots of ruins and stuff.
Lego is great for
yeah, that's tasty. Brilliant.
Even old toys, garages and such like.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Building blocks of all kinds, all kinds of that kind of jazz. So, stickle bricks.
Anyway, we've definitely digressed in the current way that AOS, Agents of Sigmar do.
As we always do.
Agents of Random.
Agents of nonsense.
Yeah.
So hopefully that gave you guys a good feel for the beginnings of 40k 8th edition, and we'll hopefully start to expand on it and slowly add in more stuff as we go. I think the next thing might be adding some more units in. Possibly try and bed the same rules in, but
yeah, I think so.
Add some more units.
I think we'll go up to the full 40, 50 points from the box.
Yeah,
see how that goes. That's be a bit slightly less explanatory video, so that we can get the game out in the evening.
Yes.
Other things, we're going to continue with the painting and the building videos, which hopefully somebody's finding useful.
I kind of went ahead and didn't do an assembly on the plague guard, so apologies for that one. I got a bit overexcited, but I will try and.
He left my house at about until 10:30 and was done by 1 in the morning or something.
Yeah, I did do quite a lot of them very quickly.
Which that's fair enough.
They are lovely models. I mean, they're all lovely models. There's no kind of models in the set as far as I'm concerned. They're all beautiful. They're all fantastic from GW's usual standards. So I think, our next games will be expand on the size a bit more, and then maybe we'll start trying to add in slightly more complex missions.
Yeah, I think so. That would be good. We'll play that mission again. Perhaps we'll choose a different one of the objective points.
Yeah.
Other than that, non-AOS stuff, we've still got a Frostgrave video to bring you.
It's in the works.
And we've got Dark Souls, I think, next week.
We are going to be doing Dark Souls with hopefully a guest star appearance. So maybe even more than one guest star appearance. We never know. We might be lucky.
We've heard some good stuff from our friend Mike about Dark Souls. Hello, Mike. He's enjoying playing it solo.
Yep. So it'll be interesting to see how we get on the group affair and how long that takes us. Probably 6 to 7 hours. It'll be a short one.
Probably. Your mystery guest allegedly knows how to play.
Supposedly. We shall see.
Okay. Well,
and we've got Frostgrave at some point as well.
another one.
And well, no,
You've
but
got a
we
video
wanna-
to bring us, and then we're going to.
Yes, and then we want to try and do some more of that at some point. So we've got that.
We're roughly meeting twice every 3 weeks, roughly. So that's how
Yes.
content. And then we do our occasional solo vid.
Yeah.
I've got lots of books to read.
We've got another.
And some audio. So I'm looking forward to that. I've actually got an AOS novel which I started to read. I haven't read about 4 pages last night.
You should be up to speed now then.
So I'm actually going to read. There hasn't been an AOS novel for ages, so I'm going to make sure I read that all the way through. Unless it's terrible, it's not. I'm sure it won't be.
Let us know if you want us to cover anything else from a beginner's perspective on 40k, and we will try and cover it. Obviously, our model range is limited to pretty much the box set at the minute. I do have some Eldari, but otherwise, more a rules sort of point of view at the minute, and we'll try and see what we can do. That's all from me then.
Yep, and that's all from me. Keep your eyes peeled on the site because we will also be bringing you a little rundown of the new. Well, I call them codexes. He calls them indexes. Basically, the back catalogue, 8 editionified. How they look. So look out for that. And until next time. Bye. You might want to think about having somewhere to do it then, like a mock-up.
Yes.
You could just leave it. If you could have somewhere you could just leave it, it wouldn't matter that you're only in 6 hours because you could record and then just carry on the next day.
Exactly. You could just leave it as it was. And
yeah.
Oh, the dream. One day.
Yeah, sort of multiple homicide.
Well, you definitely are lock up there.
We're going to play in the rec room.
Now, this shank here is the dreadnought.
Sort of war with that end, and then neutrality and war.
And then more war. And why isn't there a lot of war?
There is only war.
And God, there's a lot of war around these days. So here we go.
Bigger.
So here's a white dice.
Bigger.
They are.
They are bigger,
yeah. They're pleasingly
They're still
bigger.
roll ones.
They're slightly pleasingly. I wonder if it's because these roll ones slightly less. No, they're rubbish. Just like Beckham.
Yeah. Move the
And
scenery
then shovel
again.
the scenery out of the way. Beckham does that a lot as well. Gets on my nerves. David, stop moving the scenery.
Yeah. We haven't had a game with David Beckham for a while, actually, have we?
It's been a busy lad.
He collects 1,000 sons. Oh no, 3 sons, 1 daughter. Yeah, that's it. I'll quit now on my
Undefeated.
Yeah, my game is my Warhammer career, 40,000 career is
Unblemished.
Yeah, unblemished. Right.